Welcome to Holy Matrimony. My name is Eric.
And I'm Candace.
And we are the Yateses. And we are here to have a good time.
Yes.
Talking about marriage and other things.
Yeah, while you rock back and forth.
I'm sorry, my back is hurting. I'm
I know.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep it. Yeah, I don't know. I have this weird, I must have strained some muscle in the middle of my back.
You need to
this
sit down
past week,
somewhere.
so I'm trying to let it heal and whatnot. But I'm healed in Jesus' name.
You need to sit down.
Amen.
But welcome to Holy Matrimony. Yep. We get together every Sunday evening to talk about marriage, not just our own, but marriage in general, because we want those who are married, who want to be married, who used to be married and want to be married again, or maybe you don't want to be married, but we want you to be encouraged and to live whole in matrimony or out of matrimony. I think there's lessons for everyone to take away from successful marriages, even if you're not married. And we also have a lot to learn too from you. So we invite you to join our conversation right here on Facebook Live every Sunday evening between.
It's supposed to be 9:30 Central Time, but we had some things we had to figure out, with our technology. So we'll try to keep it at that time.
And we have three children, basically teenagers. The youngest will be a teenager in the fall. And so now that the weather is getting warmer, they kind of take a little longer to go to bed because it's not as dark or, later. It's staying brighter. So, but we do try to get on at 9:30 every Sunday night. But, if that's late for you and you're joining us afterwards, definitely let us know in the comment if you're watching the replay. You can watch all week long here on Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube at Holy Matrimony, WHOLLY, and every major podcast platform.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch, but Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio. The major ones. Yep. And you can subscribe to our podcast and listen to us off of social media if that's your jam.
Don't do that.
I said that specifically to see how he would react. He doesn't like it when people say that's my jam unless it's a song.
Talking about music. Yeah.
But now I guess that turned into like anything that you like is your jam.
That's a great example of cultural appropriation.
I hear black people say it though.
Yeah, but that's not where I started hearing it.
Oh, okay.
Black people say it, but you're saying you hear black people say it not talking about music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear that.
Yes. So,
anyway.
Just a small little prank because he does not like when people say
pet peeve of mine.
That's my jam, but like non-music.
Yeah.
Anyways, But so definitely we appreciate you joining us and sticking with us tonight. We were off last week, of course, because it was Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Yeah.
And I got to relax and eat some amazing food and got some sweet gifts from my family. And if you remember our last, the Sunday before, we were talking about something, and I basically like.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
Go ahead.
No, I couldn't. You remember?
We were talking about. I was talking about how I was like, what about Mother's Day or whatever, and you was like, oh, I'll just get a few pair of shoes.
Yes.
And I was like, a few.
So my husband
means like 3 to 5.
Right. So he actually picked out shoes for me. So I did get 3 pairs of shoes. Finally, because I was being really indecisive, which I'm usually not, especially when it comes to shoes and stuff. But he picked out some shoes for me, so I got 3 pairs of nice shoes, a variety actually, for Mother's Day, and cards from the kids, and just relaxed. We don't like to. I mean, of course, in the age of COVID, we're not going out too much, but even before that, I think the last time we had been out for Mother's Day, like at a restaurant, was when our oldest was maybe 2? I
don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, she was small, and she's 15 now. Cause
that was when we went to Red Lobster. We had to wait for
2 hours to be seated.
Yeah.
And then we had to wait, I don't know how long after, because it was a lot of us, his mom and sister. Party. And I was like, you know what? I will pass. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm not too big on having to like go out somewhere fancy or major on actual holidays like Valentine's Day. Doesn't matter if we celebrate on Valentine's Day or the weekend closest to Valentine's Day, because it's going to be crazy and busy. Mm-hmm. Unless there's like, of course, like a special event going on mm-hmm. that we want to take advantage of. But other than that, Mother's Day, mm-hmm. we can be right at home. Yeah. We can chill. We can cook and eat. My husband made an amazing meal. We have our
traditional Mother's Day meal, surf and turf.
Yes. Ribeyes for mama.
Go look at the pictures on my page. God bless you.
Yeah, so this year we had ribeyes, lobster tails, and shrimp. Mm-hmm. And so it was amazing, and I just relaxed.
And I cooked everything. I did the sides too, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And I don't usually do sides. I mean, it wasn't nothing extravagant, though. Don't get all hyped up.
It was good, though.
But it was straight. Yeah. Usually I don't do sides, but...
Yeah, I don't mind cooking. I love to cook, so I don't mind cooking on Mother's Day. Honestly, I think I get it from my mom because she always cooked on Mother's Day too. Mm-hmm. I'm not tripping about that. Okay, but I mean, I rested. Mm-hmm. I like binge watch Bones all weekend. I think.
Yeah, you were chilling. Yeah.
And I did some reading and gardening. So.
Oh yeah, definitely gardening.
Yes.
Yeah, we were outside. Yeah, we were outside that whole day, weren't we? I think I mowed, and we were outside.
Yeah, Saturday. We were working for sure. Yeah. So we're back, and we're excited too because May is our anniversary month. Yes. Our anniversary is at the end of the month on May 30th, and we will be celebrating
15? No, I'm just looking at 18 years.
Right. Do you believe years. When husbands forget?
I don't know how you could forget how many years you've been married. I mean, I guess when people get older, their brains just, don't hold things as well. But I'm like, how could you forget your actual anniversary or how many years you've been married? That's just kind of...
Maybe in another 20 years, we might be like, how long have you been married? Because it'll have been almost 40 years.
But there are some times, though, that in the last couple of years where I'd be like, man, am I 42 or 43? I'm like, oh, wait, I'm 43. That's happened right. A couple times. So maybe it's one of those kind of things.
I guess. But we'll be celebrating 18 years of marriage. Yeah. And we were talking about this earlier. It's not the mile marker. It's not a 5, 10, 15, 20. But I don't know. Having kids who are teenagers and growing up, of course, we're talking about when they turn 18. And so for us, being married 18 years, I kind of just have this feeling like, oh my gosh, we're finally going to be grown up as a couple. So yeah, we're celebrating 18 years of marriage on the 30th. So the next few weeks, we thought we'd just really take the time to explore and share with you different aspects of our marriage from the past, the present, and the future. Mm-hmm. So in a little bit, we're going to kind of venture back in the past and probably talk about one of the questions we get asked the most in relationship to our marriage. But before we do that, we got to do our marriage fun fact. Mm-hmm. So
here we are. Here we are with our marriage fun fact / trivia, whatever you'd like to call it. Today's fun fact says men who kiss their wives in the morning are said to live 5 years longer than those who don't.
Hey, all right.
5 years longer than those who don't.
You are contributing to your...
my own long life.
Yeah.
Yes, by getting that sugar.
So what is... is there any other facts about if you kiss any other time of day, or does that add more life?
Possibly, but I that's not part of the fun fact for this week.
We can just experiment.
We can, I figure the more the better, right?
Yeah.
The more the longer life. There's a funny story. My great Aunt Georgia, She's passed away, and her and her husband, Uncle Al, were like really, really close. Like they were so close that they used to like dress alike a lot, like the same, not the same colors, but like the same shirt. You know, like they'd rock a same sweatshirt, same polo shirt, whatever, you know, that kind of thing. But I heard through some of my cousins that like they would kiss all the time. Like they would drive down the street. When they were driving down the street, they would hold hands. And then every time they came to a stoplight, they would kiss.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Should we do that? I mean, we don't go a lot of places now.
Yeah. We're on the freeway too much.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we can't be doing that on the freeway.
We'd be like her. I'd be like, Wayne, like, when are we going to stop? When are we going to stop?
Yeah, we got all these roundabouts around here and stuff. Like, I don't know, that'd be kind of tricky.
Oh, that's so true. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
But we could dress alike.
Yeah. I love you, but I don't know. You'd have to wear stuff that I wear. I can't wear that.
I know. I don't wear baseball caps. So he wears you wear baseball caps.
Yeah.
I don't really wear sweatshirts like.
I don't know.
I have one sweatshirt that I do wear as an actual article of clothing, like to wear in public. But other than that, I don't wear sweat clothes.
You trying to just tell your husband all he wears is baseball caps and sweats? No, I wear more.
Blame it on COVID.
Shirts.
Blame it on COVID because you've been
jeans.
You do, but you wear sweatpants and
during the week
though.
On those, during the week, yeah.
Because you don't have to you don't have to have your camera on for meetings and stuff. I have my camera on for all my meetings pretty much, but you don't. So he's always like rocking a hoodie and sweats like every day.
Straight comfortable. Anyway, okay. So
and I'm just bougie like that, so I don't know.
You said it. I didn't.
Hey, no shame. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed of being bougie. So, but back to the fun fact, the original fun fact.
Right.
He is already extending his years because he gives me a kiss every morning. Every morning, without fail. I cannot. There's been times where I was so tired and sleepy that like later in the day I would be like, did you give me a kiss this morning? And he'd be like, yeah, like, and he'll tell me like, yeah, like you turned over and like said good morning and gave me a kiss and everything, especially when he was leaving to go to work downtown Minneapolis, because you would leave at what, like 5:45?
About that,
yeah. So I would be not coherent at all. But I mean, most days I would remember that he was leaving, but some days I would be like, did you give me a kiss? He'd be like, yeah. So even when I like wasn't totally awake or like totally aware, like you would still give me a kiss good morning, because he would be leaving the house. But even now, you still do that. And he gets up earlier. Well, we both get up at the same time, but I stay in the bed longer, and he goes to work down here, and he'll be like, all right, see you downstairs.
See you in the office.
See you in the office, yep. And he'd give me a kiss and go downstairs, so...
Yep.
Yay.
Long life.
Yeah. And I think maybe you're adding exponential years, because like we kiss throughout the day and we always kiss goodnight. So I mean that has to also be a factor. Yeah. Too.
And you got to mix some hugs in there too. You know, the hugs, they got to add some years too. Yeah. Oh, cool. Along with a little midday squeeze.
Yeah. Especially when the kids aren't here.
Yeah, so, all right.
So that was cute. Yeah. So like we were saying, May is our anniversary month, and we will be celebrating 18 years of marriage.
Yes.
On the 30th. Do we even look like we've been married 18 years? Like, for real? Like,
I don't know. A lot of people still think I'm in my early 30s. Or sometimes I get like 26, 27.
Yeah.
Still.
I don't know.
Even with the gray hair.
Old people think I am now. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yes, it'll be 18 years. I cannot believe it. I just, it feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Especially after the kids were born. That time just is like really just, Well, not right after. I'd say after they started school.
Yeah.
Those years have just been like.
It's like a blur.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I can still remember getting them ready and going to kindergarten their uniforms, just a lot of that. But it's like now the girls are in high school and our son is in middle school, and I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So 18 years. So today we're going to answer the age-old question that people ask a lot of married couples. How did you know that they were the one? So we get asked that. I get asked that quite often. Like, how did you guys know that the other one, that you were supposed to marry Eric? How did you know that, you wanted to marry Eric? Or people ask, how did he know that he was, how did Eric know that you were the one? So we decided to answer that for you all tonight. If you followed us before, we met in college here at the University of Minnesota. If you really know us, you know that I wasn't interested in Eric like that when I first met him. We were a part of a mutual friend group, though, and we all hung out together, and I thought he was just the sweetest guy. He was so nice. He was quiet. He was real quiet. Of course, so then people, oh, Eric is shy, but you were really quiet when I first met him.
Yeah.
But I, was liking other guys and stuff like that, but he was always just a sweet friend. And so
I made it out of the friend zone.
Yeah. There is hope, y'all.
There's always an exception to the rule.
And I don't think you were like hardcore in the friend zone.
No, yeah, because I wasn't really trying to get with you like that.
No, you weren't setting yourself up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we met in college, but we aren't necessarily like college sweethearts because he graduated before I did, and we kind of lost touch a little bit. And then a friend of ours reconnected us after we both had some failed relationships, thank God. And and I think the rest is kind of history. So we're going to touch on just a piece of that history of how we came to believe that we were going to marry each other, and that how did we know that you were the one?
Yeah.
So you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
I'll go first, because then he'll make sure I don't talk too long. But actually, no. For me, I think it is really simple. I think I've always had a desire to be married. So that wasn't an issue. It wasn't something I didn't have a timeline, anything like that. But like I said, Eric and I were friends in college, and when we reconnected, that's when I really felt like I got to know him more. Towards my last 2 years of college?
Yes.
Yeah, because you helped me move back out. No, well, it was my last year. You helped me move out of my dorm at the end of my junior year.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we started hanging out, really just kind of like hanging out. Not, okay, it's just we all go to college together, so like we all go to the mall together, whatever. We started hanging out and really getting to know each other. And my other friend, and actually her friend now, who is her husband now, and they have 4 beautiful children. And, I don't know. I mean, I always knew there was something about him about you that, I don't know. He just were always so sweet, always so kind, like caring. He would be willing to just do anything for anybody, out of the kindness of his heart. And, there were moments during college where I needed help. I needed help, or I needed someone to help me do something. And like Eric was always there. Like you were always there. Even when I did stupid things, So like my junior year, because my other friend still was in college too. So it was my junior year. A friend of mine came to visit from back home, and another friend of ours was in college here, and she invited us over to her dorm to come hang out, and like everybody was drinking. And I was drinking too, but I didn't get like tipsy or drunk.
Hold your liquor.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I had started early, but by the time I got to college, it wasn't even a big deal because I had done it so much. I mean, not bad, but
Sorry,
I had drank. I mean, no, I'm no shame for real. Like, for real. Like, when I got to college, it wasn't like, oh, now it's time to party. I had done that. Like, so, yeah. So, my friend, I mean, she got wasted and sick wasted. We are clear across campus. It would not be safe for us to walk back to my dorm. It was a Saturday. I had church on Sunday, and trust, all that was happening, I was still getting up and going to church on Sunday. And so we woke up in my friend's room, and I was like, okay, we have to get back because I need to take a shower and I need to get ready so I can go to church. And my friend was so sick, like she was not going to be able to walk. And so it was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, something like that.
8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'll call Eric. And I called Eric. He answered. So I wonder
what brought me to your mind. I mean, was it the Holy Ghost? Or...
It had to have been. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they were.
Yeah, I'm just jumping in, but I'll let you finish.
No, but that is a good question, though. Like, because there were other moments. So, I called him. I explained to him what happened. I wasn't trying to keep no secrets, and I asked if he can come and get us and bring us back to my dorm. Now, mind you, he lived by my dorm, so he's also clear across campus. And if you know anything about the Twin Cities, parking is hard to come by. And so at 8 o'clock in the morning, he got out of bed for me, went and got his car, and probably gave up a really good parking space on the streets, and came and picked us up and drove me back to our dorm. And then realizing that his church didn't start till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So he didn't have to wake up. He could have slept till noon. But he answered the phone and heard me on the other end and like didn't even hesitate. Like he was like, oh sure, I'll be there and blah, blah, blah. Came and got us. My friend got into bed in my room. I got dressed and was like, peace. Went to church. And I don't know, there were just other moments where there were those situations where it was like, man, who can I call? And not in a take advantage of somebody or like, manipulate. Like I found myself in a situation or like even fun things. So like when we were all cooking and I needed to go to the store and I didn't have a car and I was like, oh, let me see if Eric can take us. And so it was just it was moments where you would just come to mind, right? You would be the first person that I would think of. And I think it was that in those situations, I was trying to think of somebody who was reliable, who I could depend on, who was consistent. I wasn't saying those things back then, but when I look back on those situations and think about what were the qualities that I was seeing in you, what was I being drawn to about you? It was those things, right? He was consistent. He was the same person all the time. He was dependable. People that all his friends, they all spoke highly of him and just, he was trustworthy. I didn't feel unsafe around him. Like I knew that he was going to honor my virtue, as a young woman that, he didn't try to take advantage of me, even if you were interested in me, like, I wasn't aware at all because he didn't try to take advantage of me like that. So I think those were like the hidden things that were like building up internally in my heart about you, just as a person that I like wasn't even aware of. So, we got to know each other and then we reconnected. You helped me move out of my dorm my junior year. And then that summer I went to Nigeria for a missions project. And again, just in this situation, I'm writing in my journal. And I'm just like, all of a sudden, I just find myself thinking about Eric Yates. And I was like, wow, that's like really strange. And I might have had a conversation with my roommate about relationships earlier that day and probably wasn't connecting the dots, right? Like that later that night I'm writing in my journal and the seed of this conversation probably had taken place between me and her earlier. Right. And I was just like, he's going to make a great husband one day. No lie. Like that is the line that I wrote in my journal. And I was like, well, I always heard that if somebody pops into your mind randomly, you should just pray for them. And like, that was it. That was the journal entry. No deep revelation. No like, oh my gosh. It was just like, he's going to make a really good husband someday. I wasn't saying he's going to make a good husband to me. I just felt like he was going to be somebody's good husband. And so I prayed for him. We came back in the fall. He helped me move back into my dorm. And so I think my knowing, I don't know, it was so weird. I feel like I was oblivious to my own growth in knowing that you were going to be my husband. Like, I felt like it was happening internally for me, but I was not aware.
Yeah. But, I think a lot of times, people say that, like, God only lets you know so much at a certain time. And then over time he'll kind of pull the cover back.
Yeah.
Where you can see more of what really went on or what was really going on.
That's so true.
And I could say the same thing from my perspective too.
Right. Because I come back to school my senior year. We stayed connected. You helped me move back in, and even other people, as he's helping me move in like this heavy furniture, people are like, "Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's Eric. Like, that's my friend Eric." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Oh, okay." I'm like, "What?" Like, he's my friend helping me move in, and they're like, "Sure."
Like, but there's also other people like you're one of the friends you mentioned. When she saw that we both had the same kind of car.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, she was like, "Oh, both of y'all got the same kind of car. Y'all need to work that out." And she got in her car and left. We were like, "Okay."
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Yep, we both had Kia Sportages.
Yeah.
And we didn't know the other person had them. But we had the same exact car. Same year, I think.
Yeah.
Mine was white. His was black. So, yeah, I think for me, it was this, like, slowly pulling back of the covers. And part of it, I'm glad you said that, because part of that was because I had been in a relationship the spring before with somebody who I had known for years. We had been very close friends, and finally it was like, oh my gosh, we should be in a relationship together. Like, we've been friends this long. But it didn't work out. And God made it very clear to me. When I say, like, clear, like writing on the wall clear, that this is not for you. But I still had a little bit of what if in me. Like, okay, but if God does this and he works on him and then he does this with me, like, maybe we'll get back together. And so I think as I'm growing in my relationship with Eric, I think God was holding back because I had those feelings. Because I was like, well, what if he wants to get back together? What if he changes? And I think he was doing that to protect Eric's heart. Because what if I had gone like all in right away and then something happened? Like, he was keeping me from breaking your heart, which, you had been in a relationship that had done you wrong. Yeah. And so God wasn't going to let that happen again. Yeah. And so we reconnected my senior year and got to know each other more as we participated in a community choir together. And that's when I started to see it. That's when I started to say, oh, he's so cute. And like, and I mean, I knew he had always been handsome, attractive in that way. But now it was like, oh, wow, like he's a grown man, and just seeing him be, it was seeing him as that like quiet leader amongst the group of people, seeing him be the reliable, dependable man amongst like all of the group of folks that we were working and serving with. I think then my heart started to like tell me, hey, he's a great guy. I mean, and then I'll pass it to you. So like I said, he had been in a relationship that had done him wrong. So my friend that reconnected us, she knew that he was in that relationship. And she was like, oh yeah, Eric's in a relationship. They're engaged. And this is, a year or so before. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for him. That's so fantastic. So then fast forward to her reconnecting us so he can help me move. Then she tells me that they broke up. My first instinct was that she did him wrong. I knew nothing about the relationship. I didn't even know who he was in a relationship with. But when my friend told me that they had broke up, I was like, what? I was like, oh.
He was ready to fight.
Yes. I was like, how could she do that to him? He is such a nice guy. And so I literally was like mad for you. We hadn't been communicating, nothing. We hadn't been connected at all. But I really was like hurt for him. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's the sweetest person. He's so nice. How could anybody like do him like that? I hated the girl's guts and I didn't even know who she was. And so it was kind of like looking back, I was drawn to his character. I was drawn to the type of person that he was. And his love and service to God, but I didn't realize it until later, and that's fine. And then, what sealed the deal was, yes, that fear did come back to me, where I was potentially going to be presented with an opportunity to see my ex, and we had begun to explore our relationship, Eric and I was so scared because I did not want to hurt him. I didn't want to go home and see my ex and then have all these feelings come flooding back and thinking like, oh no, now I have to choose, or like he wants to be with me now. I was really afraid for that. So as I was going to go home for Christmas break, I was very honest with Eric. I told him everything. I told him how I was feeling. And he was just like, okay, well, you go home and I'll see you when you come back. And I was like,
I mean, it was tough.
But you did, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you hid it. I mean, whatever feelings you were feeling, you hid them very well. Like, you didn't make me feel guilty for that. Like, you didn't show any kind of anger, nothing. I just felt like, okay. So, went home. Didn't see my ex. Now, college breaks. I was at home for a month for Christmas. Didn't see him. And then, so that all of that didn't see him, like everything attached to that, just, it was gone. And when I came back and we talked and I was like, yeah, I didn't see him and I'm cool. He was like, cool. And as soon as he responded, when he was just like, that's great, cool. In that moment, I knew. I was like, I'm going to marry this man because he was so patient with me when he had every right to be like, you mean to tell me all these years that I've sacrificed my time for you? Like he could have did all that. I did this and this for you. I picked you up every Saturday to drive you to rehearsal for X amount of months because you hurt your foot. I helped you move in your dorm. I helped you move out. I mean, like, he had a lot of stake in the game by this time. Yeah. And he could have been like, and you were literally about to throw me away for like your ex that had did you wrong, because I mean, he really did do me wrong. And so he had every right to feel that way, but he didn't show it. He didn't say it. He didn't express it. He was so patient, y'all. And I promise you, like, as soon as I got back and I told him that, yep, didn't see him and I don't feel anything, he was like, cool, good. And it was just like, like, this is the man you're going to marry. And I held it in, but I was like, oh, this is it. Yep, this is it. We good. We good. Yeah. So that is how I knew. It was a process of, I love what you said. It was a process of God slowly pulling back what the curtain, he said?
The cover.
Slowly pulling back the cover.
Unveiling more and more as time goes on. Unveiling
more. It wasn't this like, oh my gosh, instantly I knew. No, I didn't. Other people knew before I did. Because they saw it.
Yeah.
I know my mom did. I know my mom did. And my friends even said how much I would talk about him. But it didn't even dawn on me that I was doing that. They were like, oh yeah, you talked about him all the time. And I was like, I did? And they're like, yeah, we knew. I'm like,
why'd y'all tell me?
Yeah, exactly. So how did you know?
Well, I first of all, let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not going to be able to articulate it as well as
yes,
she
you are in your own way.
I'm just not that verbally astute. At any rate,
just think of it like math.
Okay. So I guess going back to the beginning, when I first met you, I definitely, and we've told some of these stories a lot, so, just forgive us or whatever. But when I first saw you, you were in a group of young ladies, the new freshman girls on the super block at the U, and me and my homie.
He was 2 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
3?
3.
Oh,
right?
yeah. You graduated in 2001?
Well, in a way 3, but I took 5 years to graduate.
Right.
Not because it was because I was in engineering
by
at
choice.
First, that's why. But anyway, and me and my homie, we're still homies and everything. But, when fall came around, we knew there was going to be some new ladies on the block or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
And hunting.
So we had to go and meet them. I mean, there was about 5 or 6 of y'all around the table or whatever. And I definitely noticed Candace first. She was the one that really stuck out to me. First of all, because she had a bob with blonde highlights in it and a little tail.
And no, had like the head, the tail, and the back, y'all.
I mean, I did notice that, but she just had a really wonderful smile. That's one of the things I love about her the most is her smile. So I definitely noticed her, and she stood out in that group of young ladies and whatnot. So, as Candace said, we kind of became friends in a friend group. We would hang out sometimes, go to parties or whatever, go to the movies as a big group of folks and all that. Because, we had to kind of stick together. But we all enjoyed each other's company. So, I don't want to. But so as time went on, she mentioned all these things these times that we had interactions where I would, do things for her. And the only thing I have to correct you on is you said that, that I was a nice guy and I would, do anything for anybody.
Oh, well, that's true. How I saw it. I guess because he would do because you would do things for me, I felt
that's not true. I mean, for her, anytime there was something associated with her, I was all for it. Like, and I mean, I knew I liked her, but I didn't like her like that.
He didn't do stupid things. I mean, he didn't. Yeah.
I mean, I was always drawn to her. I always liked being around her. Mm-hmm. So, and then, you had your infatuation with another guy. So I wasn't going to try to, compete with nobody. Like, I wasn't at that point yet.
Yeah.
Now, later on, I would have done that, but I wasn't at that point yet. So, where was I? Talking about, doing things for you. Like, if there were other girls that would ask me to do stuff like that, I'd have been like, oh, man, I gotta work. I gotta go to work. I'm busy or whatever. But for her, I would always do that. And I didn't realize that until later on that, like, anytime there was something involving her, whether it was doing something for you or just in an event or whatever, even like Alpha Omega, like, I wasn't really in Alpha Omega before you got to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I had gone to a couple things, but I wasn't even really into it all like that because I had, stuff in my own church and whatnot. So any chance I got to be around Candace, I took it. And so, as the years go by, I noticed that more and more that was the case. Yeah. So I was just drawn to her. And so I guess fast forward, and she kind of touched on a lot of different things, but in that time where we hadn't connected for a year or so, I was on campus because my guy, he was in grad school. So he was still like in the super block or whatever. Went to hang out with him and we went to another guy's room. And we were watching the Temptations movie. And it was kind of random. I mean, we were just hanging out or whatever. But to this day, I do not know how you came up in the conversation. I don't know, but I said, and I hadn't talked to you for probably almost a year, and I said out of my mouth, I was like, "That's gonna be my wife one day."
And what they say?
And I don't remember what they said, but Philip remembers me saying that. Though.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't remember what anybody else said. It was probably like crickets or something. They were probably like, where'd that come from, bro? But I remember speaking that out of my mouth that I was like, Candace, that's going to be my wife one day. And I hadn't talked to her for a year. We hadn't really like done any dating or anything like that. I mean, I had really no natural reason to say that, but I did. I
mean, I could have been head over heels in another relationship and you wouldn't even have known.
Yep. But I did say that. So fast forwarding, she talked about, us kind of reconnecting and all that kind of stuff.
But you could talk about it from your perspective if you want to.
But yeah, I mean, we both had the other relationships, and me too. You, like you said, you always wanted to be in a marriage relationship. I've always wanted to have a great marriage, and that's one of my dreams, is to be a great husband, a great father, and raise a great family. So, just looking, watching her over the years, getting to know her more. She had, I was always, physically attracted to her. Like, I always thought she was pretty and, just was great. It's like great personality, all that kind of stuff. That was kind of like that was already there. But
checked all the boxes.
Yeah. But then also just like the character that she has, and she talked about me being consistent. She's always been the same Candace, like from the moment I met her to today. Yes, she's grown in different ways, but she's always been that same person that I remember, going down and eating at the dining hall with. So, I've always loved that about her, and just, her bubbly disposition, her outlook on life. She loves spending time with her friends, her family. She's loving. She's just, she has so many wife qualities, and I started to see those more and more as we got to spend more time together. And then, ultimately when we got to start hanging out with the choir and all that, I was just like, man, like, this would be a good choice. Candace would be a great choice. But I was still a little apprehensive to take those next steps, just because I am kind of, I've always been kind of on the shy side, introverted side, and I, like she said, I kind of been hurt before, but I didn't think you would hurt me. I just was afraid maybe you might be like,
or just say
whatever.
No. You weren't.
Yeah.
You knew I wouldn't have said anything crazy, but
right. But in a way, though, I was very confident that once I did, kind of tell her I wanted to go to the next level, that she would be down with it. She gave me clues.
Oh yeah.
To let me know, like, it's good, bro. Like, come on. So it took.
I was like opening the door, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. But one of my friends, my guy Philip, he was like, basically, and he's like 6 years younger than me, but he was like, if you don't holler at her, I'm gonna holler at her. And so I was like, I know he wasn't gonna do it, but he was saying, bruh, handle your business.
And he probably knew that I would have been like, no, thank you.
Yeah. But like you said, your friends could see it. Like, my friends could see it too.
Yeah.
Like, people could just see that, like, we belong together.
Yeah.
And so we were on this trip down in Madison with the choir. And this young lady right here, she's Kojic to the bone. We were in this service, little storefront kind of service. And she had just tore her Achilles tendon, and she had a big black boot on her leg. But the Holy Ghost was like, I'm about to touch you. And so he was like, bam. And she started shouting with her boot on, like bucking, screaming, everything. I was like, just watching. And then God spoke to me and said, that's your wife. Mm-hmm. I was like.
Did you start crying?
I probably did, because I think I got a little in the service. Yeah. I was getting my worship on too. But. Yeah, and
you said it was audible.
Yeah,
you said it was very audible.
I felt like I heard it. Yeah, mm-hmm. And my friend said he heard that too.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, oh wow, and I was like, I'm cool with that. Thank you, Lord. That's a good confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, they say God said that, but. Well, either it wasn't real, or I don't know. I'll just say, like, I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you make a good point, because, like you said, you believe that you heard that, but mm-hmm. you also had somebody that also told you. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that, like, you went to him like, hey man, this is what I heard. Mm. Oh, I heard it too. No, like, he told you, like, hey man, God told me that that's your wife.
Yeah.
So that was.
This brother was a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
And preaching somebody too. He still is.
Yeah. So, but that was a very, like, clear confirmation.
Yeah.
Amongst everything else you were saying. I mean, obviously there weren't like a whole bunch of red flags and then you're like, well, I think God says you're my wife. No.
Right, yeah.
What you heard was reinforced by everything that you had observed leading up until that point.
Right. And that's a big contrast to my previous relationship.
Yeah.
Because the previous relationship, I met this young lady, really didn't know all that much about her, but after a month, I was talking about let's get married. And I didn't ask God nothing. He didn't tell me nothing. That was just all flesh. So this was a whole different experience, that I allowed God to draw us together and learn more about each other so that I could see it. So that when he spoke to me, it was confirmation. It wasn't just me trying to make it work. You know what I'm saying? So, so it was really refreshing. So then that's when the time, passed that, Candace went back home and we had to.
But we did connect though. So after that happened on the way home, actually, because I had a conversation with somebody in our choir too when we were in Madison, and she was like, actually it was his little brother's girlfriend, and she was like, so what is up with you two? Everybody had gone shopping and me and her stayed back in the hotel room, and she's like, what is up with you and Eric? And I'm like, I don't know, so again, all these people could see it, but we couldn't. And so then on the way home, you didn't want to do most of the driving.
Yeah, because
so we're in this big 15-passenger van, and I'm scoping out who's sitting where, because I gotta make sure that I have a spot for Eric to sit next to me. So I get in, and then somebody tries to get in. I was like, "Oh, Eric, somebody's sitting here." I don't think I said it was you, but I was like, "Somebody's sitting here," or I think I sat kind of over to the right towards the sliding door so that there was space next to me, so that when you came and was like, "Oh, looking where you can sit," I scooted over. It's like, "Oh, you can sit here." So we sat next to each other on the way home, and you were sleepy?
Yeah, I was sleepy.
Yeah, he was really tired. And I was like, oh, you can put your head on my shoulder and go to sleep. And so then his little brother, and his friend Philip were sitting behind us, and they were just... they were just kind of, cackling and teasing us underneath their breath. But that was really the beginning of it. Where I think there was just kind of the sparks in that moment. And it, nothing, wasn't top of the foshay. We clinked our champagne glasses and knew we were in love. No, we were in a 15-passenger van on the way back home from Madison, dog tired from singing at this church revival. And that's I think where the knitting started to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So within a couple weeks, I think we went on our first date. Our first just date with just us.
Yep. A date, a real date.
Yeah. And we spent a lot of time on the phone to the wee hours of the morning, emailing each other. We didn't have text messaging back then.
Oh my gosh, we did email
each other. We would email each other. I still have some of those that I printed out.
Right, because it was my senior year of college. He's been out of college and working. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to see him because I was studying and everything. But we started seeing each other more. He would come hang out at the dorms and everything. But that too, as far as getting to know you, I had known you for the first 3 years of my college career. But that last year, when we first started talking on the phone, I would just be like, dude, I did not know you, because he was talkative. He was talking, I was laughing, I would be butt gusting laughing in tears. And we realized how much we had in common. Our love for music, different gospel groups. He's a musician, I grew up singing, so many things. And I literally, we're on the phone and I would be saying to him, I did not know you. Because I would just be so shocked that we'd be talking for 2-3 hours. Yeah. Because in our larger friend groups, and that's the thing, as an introvert, in these larger groups of 12, 15 folks, he'd just be chilling in the cut. Yeah. Just, he'd be smiling, laughing. But, he wasn't the center of attention because that's not the type of guy he is. So it was just this whole other side that I started to get to know, where I was like, oh, I did not know you at all. I mean, I knew I knew you, but I really got to know, you know, you in those conversations when we started dating.
Yeah. That was fun. We talked a lot.
I know. I would just be laughing so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah.
That began our lifelong collection of inside jokes.
Right. Yep. That's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, so we were going kind of getting back to it, but like when you talked about the time where you went back home and all that, and how patient I was, and I've said this many times before, I was able to be. I mean, I believe God's given me. I'm a patient guy.
Very.
However, because I had heard from him and what he said, like you could go home and see him.
Yeah.
But I already heard what God said.
Yeah.
He already told me she's your wife. So, I mean, yes, it was hard. Oh, she's going to go back home and see her boyfriend, whatever. But I was like, hey, God said it. Like, either I'm going to believe it or not, you know? And so, you know, sometimes you face a little adversity in your relationships, but you got to hold on to what God said. Like that, for me, that's what I had to do. And so, you know, he was true to what he said.
Later on, when you shared that with me, I could see the confidence in you when you said that. You know, when he shared with me, when you said you were going to go home and you might see your ex, like, I was cool because I knew what God said. And when I saw the confidence, I was like, yes, sir. Come on. I mean, obviously, if you're going to marry somebody, you want them to be like, oh, I knew you were going to be my wife. Like, if he would have said, I was like nervous. I mean, I was really scared. I didn't want to tell you, but, you know, I just felt like, man, she's probably just going to go. Like, if he acted like, if you told me that later, I'd have been like, well, dang, thanks. Like, what kind of credit are you giving me if you were worried that I really was going to just give everything up, you know, for this, like, dream? But when I saw the confidence that you had and the trust. The trust that he had in God.
And that, too, because the trust I had in God, but also the trust that we had built by knowing each other and how we've treated one another since we had known each other.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that she was not somebody who was just going to, like, dog me out like that.
Yeah, because, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, I didn't have to say anything to you.
Yeah.
I could have just went home.
Yeah.
I could have went home. I could have saw him. I could have called him. But no, I wanted to be honest because, again, my heart was developing for him. I hadn't formulated the words or the ideas around a lifelong relationship of marriage, but my heart was going there. And so I cared enough to say, this is how I'm feeling. I want to be honest with you because I care about you. You know, we hadn't gotten to the point yet where we had exchanged like I love yous or anything, but I believe the love was there between the two of us. And I really wanted to protect his heart. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. I was just like, I have to tell him, like, that's the right thing. I have to tell him how I'm feeling. And when I saw that he, even in that moment of vulnerability, he still was protecting my heart by saying, that's okay. I understand. Go home, be with your family. If you see him, you see him. And let me know. Like, he was protecting me and protecting my heart, too, because he didn't give me ultimatums. Like we know. Oh, my gosh. You weren't saying, well, I mean, if you're going to go see your ex, I mean, we could just be done.
Yeah.
You know.
You can leave.
You could just leave. I mean, that's a maths joke if you watch Married at First Sight. But he didn't give me ultimatums. He did not make me feel uncomfortable about it at all. He put me at ease. Like, I'll be here, you know. And I think you knew that, like, I wasn't trying to, like, manipulate you or take advantage of you in any way in that situation. So he was able to say that, and that just really sealed the deal. And I think, like you said, when people say, well, how did you know they were the one? And of course, I mean, we watch all these movies and it was like, oh, they're the one. But you know what? There's situations that make you question, like, is this person really the one? Or there's time. There's a proving that has to happen. I feel like that's what happened between us. There was this, like, time of proving that we didn't know that we were proving to each other.
Right.
but we were. And then sometimes there's obstacles, there's thorns, you know, there's some hurdles you have to overcome to really get grounded in. Absolutely, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe wholeheartedly this is the one for me. And that for me, that just makes it, you know, sweeter.
Yeah.
It just makes it, you know, so much more worth it.
Yeah.
You know, because that is a story and a journey that we'll cherish forever. You know, what we went through.
Yeah.
Even in both of us having very serious committed relationships where, you know, he was engaged. My previous relationship, we were talking about marriage. That's hard. I mean, we both left that and then got connected to each other. And so I think God was like really helping us both to guard our hearts, where we didn't just rush into this relationship with each other, almost like as like a rebound thing, right? Because who knows how we would have treated each other if that were the case. But he kind of just slowly brought us together, just slowly, at a good pace. We could see each other. You know, we were hanging out, we were cool, getting to know each other. And then it was like, oh yeah. And then we were able to really move at the same pace together. Yeah. Because we kind of both came into that knowing around the same time. He didn't put anything on me. He didn't come and be like, well, the Lord told me you're my wife. No, but we talked about this before. No, he did not do that. No.
God spoke to me and told me.
You know, we did have honest discussions about, you know, how our relationship would progress. And then on my birthday of my senior in 2001. I graduated in 2002. Yeah, we did let each other know that we loved each other. And it was like very genuine, just a really authentic moment. And I think that when we did, you wrote it in the card. Yeah. And so when he wrote some stuff in my birthday card, and then when I read it at the bottom, I just read it and then I looked like, you do? And I said, I think I said I love you. No, I don't think I said it.
No, no, I don't think you did right away. Yeah.
I didn't.
And I was like, hey,
again,
I know she does.
Yes.
Just, you know,
I think I was just scared. Yeah, I was just scared because I did. But when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, you do? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, thank you. But no, I said, I think I probably said something along the lines of like, I mean, I care about you. I just don't know if I'm ready to like say that yet. And you were like, okay, that's cool. And then again, it's like when you did that, then inside my heart like leaped like, girl, you love this man, you know, just say it. And it wasn't even too long after that. No, I think probably like the next week or something like that. Yeah. But that once we got to that place, like we knew. This wasn't just a relationship where we just are telling each other we love each other. We knew we're getting married. Yeah. Like, that's it. Yeah. And so the conversation really kind of just came naturally for us to talk about getting married and being married to each other. It was very natural for us because I think we both had the desire. And then when we came together, it was just like, I don't know, a key in a lock. And so you didn't have to feel nervous about like, well, I mean, do you want to get married? Like, we didn't, you know, he didn't have to ask me, do you want to get married one day? Or like, do you want to have kids? Like, we didn't have to do that. Yeah. So the conversation about getting married was just, we knew that was it. Like, yeah, I mean, it was more like, so how do we do this? Yeah. What's the plan? I was like, well, you got to talk to my dad. You know, you got to talk to my parents. And yeah, it just rolled. It just progressed from that point on. But we knew. We knew. Yeah. We knew. Yes. Yeah. So sometimes you got to listen. Sometimes you have to have, no, I won't even say sometimes. I think you need people around you, you know, that will help you see clearly. And I think a lot of times in relationships, we talk about having people around you that will see red flags, but you also need people around you that will help you see
the green
flags, right? Like we had people around us that saw the green flags and they were like, whoop, whoop. Hello, right here, folks. Yeah. Like, look this way, Candace. Like, you need those people in your life too. You don't need just the friends that, girl, don't. I mean, if that's all you got going on, you might want to check your friends. You know, you need people to point out the green flags too, because our friends, the people that loved us, they kind of had to help us like see that. Hello. Look at you two. Look at, you know, they had to spell it out for us. Yeah. And that I appreciated that, because maybe it would have taken longer. Maybe one of us would have grown impatient, or just kind of like taken another opportunity that may have presented itself that may have pulled us apart, you know, but we had those people who were praying for us, you know, who knew us very well, who knew our hearts, who knew our lives and our dreams. And they really could see, oh yeah. Yeah. You too. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that is how we knew. Yeah. That each other was the one. Yes. So hopefully you have not just enjoyed our stories, but maybe taken a couple nuggets from our stories. And if so, drop them in the comments. Yeah. Let us know. And next week, when we come back, we're going to talk about, you know, being married, the present. And kind of like you said, you know, as we have kids that are teenagers, we've been through some phases. We know that you parent your kids for life, but we want to talk about being married. And as we've been married 18 years almost. Yes. We almost grown, y'all. Some of our biggest lessons, some of our biggest joys. And, you know, maybe some of our biggest victories, I'll say. Yeah. You know, when we talk about obstacles. So, and then the following week, we will be here on our anniversary, because we have plans the following weekend. But we'll come hang out for our anniversary a little bit, because we want to talk about the future. Yeah. Right? What do we see in our future? What do we want for our marriage for the future? Yes. So thank you for joining us. Yeah. You want to remind folks where they can find us? You can find us on YouTube at Holy Matrimony. That's WHOLLY Matrimony. You can also find us on all the podcast places, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Google Podcasts even. And also you can find us on Instagram too. Yes. My Instagram is at Yaktastic1, YAKKTASTIC1. And Candace is at Candace_cultivates. Yes. So you can see, you know, we do a lot of, I post some of the most random stuff, but also Candace does a lot of gardening things on her page too. Yes, it's gardening season. So. Yeah. So yeah, you can reach out to us there, and we'd love to connect with you all. So thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. All right, God bless you. Yes, love you all. Take care. Thanks for listening to Holy Matrimony with Eric and Candace Yates. Don't forget to subscribe. We want you to be notified of all of our new content. Take care.